Sorry for the confusion, 2 jumped. And I can count that far, but I wasn't quite sure I had called the right one. Senator Leyonhjelm.
Thank you. Mr Acting Deputy President, I rise in favour of protecting the African lion and other animals by supporting the ban on importing and exporting trophies. I congratulate the Honourable Greg Hunt, Minister for the Environment, for his stance on this important issue. And one of the measurements of a society is how we treat animals, regardless of how powerful or agile they may be. They have little protection against a rifle or other human weapons, and even less protection when placed in a fenced-off area. We want to be seen as a modern 21st century developed nation who has a raft of animal welfare laws. But now some of us want to ignore what happens in other countries and to encourage cruelty and the unnecessary killing in the name of sport. But I ask Mr Acting Deputy President, where is the sport in canned hunting? One can hardly call himself or herself a hunter if the animal is lured, baited or caged. We are all horrified at the greyhound racing live baiting scandal, and we were all shocked by the appalling treatment of animals in Australia, and yet some not only want to turn a blind eye to what happens outside Australia, they now want to be allowed to bring their gruesome trophies back into the country. For those who state conservation and the need to cull, while at times are legitimate, needs to be undertaken by properly managed programs in the hands of professionals who have no need to boast about hunting canned animals. And for those who state that income goes to aid in the development of developing nations, feel free to donate to charities, feel free to go and volunteer and bring back pictures of wild animals and not trophies of misery. I am sure $50,000 will go a long way in a school or a village. Build much-needed infrastructure rather than exchange of money for endangered species life. Development does not come from a quick buck. It comes from hard work that a community can take pride in and own. Hunting, canned or otherwise, does not create a local resilient industry, does not give villages future direction, does not encourage localised economic development, and certainly does not create civic pride. Economic participation is zero. It creates another form of welfare, where a cash grant is given to a community for them to essentially do little, other than provide some accommodation and a guide. That is not development. It is not nation-building. It is not capability development. It is welfare based on cruelty to animals. Money not well earned is potentially money not well spent. What is there to stop basic human greed when animal after animal is sold by communities making a quick, easy buck? The only need to overstate the amount of animals available to have permission to sell wild animals for hunting, while all the time not having to look to the future and develop inclusive industries for their communities. With so many people finding out this abhorrent, it will not encourage a broad-based tourism industry with greater employment potential. Canned hunting, where a lion is bred in captivity, becomes reliant on humans for food and even grows to trust humans. It is contained in a fenced-off area and is placed in a position where death is a certainty. This is not sport. It's not a skill. It is unfair, it is unethical, a vile killing and nothing else. What comes after canned hunting, Mr Acting Deputy President? Wild hunting, and when you can't find game fairly, you unfairly find game? To say that it's a well-regulated industry is a fallacy. With no disrespect to those developing nations, we have seen that the rule of law struggles in many of these countries. And naturally, they will prioritise their struggling law enforcement resources to human populations, leaving their wildlife as a low priority. We, as a developed nation, have a duty to support the law of enforcement to proactively, actively assist prosecute illegal activities. While we have recently seen evidence that hunting is not a well-regulated activity, when a male lion known as Cecil was lured away from his sanctuary, shot with an arrow, wounded and in pain for 40 hours, tried vainly to survive, while a trophy hunter returned to his camp, had a meal, had a good night's sleep, only to return the next day to finish off his prey. How is this any different to any injured possum being thrown to the ground and laughed at? Being used to blood a greyhound. Why is that not okay here in Australia, but perfectly fine when we step foot overseas? Let's be realistic. It does not take much to arrange documents claiming to be from a legal entity in a developing nation that states that the wanton killing was legal. It may even be from a legal entity, but are inappropriately paid for. A line must be drawn in the savannah. This ban shows the world that we do not support this cruel and unethical practice. I stand in full support of maintaining the ban on bringing hunting trophies into Australia.